Welcome back to the Legacy Podcast. My name is Olisya Grants, co-founder of Matrix Legacy Inc. We are back for episode number 42. This is the show where we create a blueprint for success. We look for ways to create generational wealth, and we break those chains of a poverty mindset. Now, obviously, we got to start with the thank yous. I appreciate every single one of you every single week for tuning in. Like, the numbers are going up every single week. I'm getting phenomenal messages from people who are actually putting the things that we talk about here into action. So if you've seen any results, if you've had any breakthroughs based on the topics that we've discussed here, I would love to know what they are. That way we can talk more about those things, and I can really know what it is that you guys even want to hear about in the first place. So this is really just about me sharing where I am in my journey, and as I'm learning these lessons, I'm just sharing, so you don't have to go over the same stumbling blocks as I'm walking over. And then it's also just a space for us to grow and share information. So if you have been having any breakthroughs, please send them my way. I would love to hear it. Now, on top of the fact that we are here at episode number 42, which is blowing my mind, we are at the end of 2020. We are literally less than a week away from Christmas if you celebrate it, or we're right in the midst of the holidays in general. And this is a big money topic for a lot of people because this is where people find themselves into debt. If you haven't been preparing throughout the year for whatever gifts you were going to purchase or things spending, going out to eat, going out to events, things like that, then this is a position where you might end up spending a whole lot more than you ever bargained for. And what I've realized about what is the main cause of why people spend so much money during the holidays is this little thing called comparison. And that's really what we're going to talk about today, not just in regards to the holidays or spending or things like that, but comparison in general, because one of the things that I've noticed most of all is that comparison can kill a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence, a lot of really amazing things that are going on in your life and in your journey. And so I really wanted to address that today. So just starting there on the topic of the holidays, and we're wondering, why is it that we spend so much money on these holiday parties, on these Christmas gifts and things like that? Well, it's because we're comparing to what we think that other people are going to spend. And it almost becomes a competition at that point because you don't want to show up with the quote unquote cheapest gift, or you don't want to show up looking like you didn't try to do something special, when really the special part about it in the first place, we have to remember what the holidays are about in the first place. But on the topic of gift giving, it's really the thought, because I can go out and spend $500 on something for somebody that they don't even really want, just so that I could look good. But what about that person? So did I really get that gift for you, or did I just get that expensive gift because that is going to make me look like a better gift giver somehow because I spent more? Just because you spent more doesn't mean you gave more, doesn't mean your gift is more valuable. And so we've addressed that before, and about, breaking that mindset. But it's a very difficult thing to do when you are comparing, and you're going to be judged, or people are going to see what it is that you purchased. And we've been groomed like that literally our whole lives. So when you're coming up, even from a baby, you're compared to other babies based on your height and based on your weight to tell whether you're healthy or whether you're average. Then when you go off to school, you're compared based on your grades. Then after you graduate, we're compared based on our salaries. And so everything is a comparison at the end of the day. The system was built for us to compare ourselves to others and to the, I guess if you call it the average. Now, there's a few problems with comparisons, and I'm going to dive into each one of those as we go along. And the first one that I wanted to talk about was the fact that most people actually quit too soon because of comparisons. If we look at the average, if we look at, okay, most people by this age are married, or most people by this age are making this much money, or whatever it is that we're comparing to, a lot of people will quit before they actually find their own success because they're so busy looking around and trying to see what it looks like for other people, what success looks like for other people, that they didn't actually give themselves the opportunity to grow into and find their own. So that's one of the reasons why comparison is so damaging. But even beyond that, when we're comparing our success or our position or our salary, our looks, or whatever, when we're comparing that to other people, we're only comparing to 50% of the story, if that. We don't get to see the price that person paid for their success. So meanwhile, we're here wishing, okay, I wish I lived in that big house like that person, or I wish I was as lucky as that person who, takes vacations however many times a year, whatever it is that you're comparing it to. You didn't have to see the price that person had to pay. You didn't have to see all the weekends and the evenings that they had to give up with their family, or the extra trainings that they had to do, or the extra work that they had to put in, the extra time in the gym in order to get that unlimited energy that it looks like they have. You're comparing yourself to half the story and then giving yourself an unrealistic bar or an unrealistic goal to obtain. And that has been a struggle of mine in so many different areas, in my business, even personally. So coming up, I was the most insecure about my own body. I was comparing myself to everybody around me because in my culture, it's just natural that the women have a little more weight and a little, they look a little different than I did. And from comparing myself and really listening to the opinions of others, I grew into a position where I almost hated my own body. And I share that not to gain any sympathy or anything, because I love the body I'm in right now. And to look back and think that for so long, I would try to force myself to eat more food or wear bigger clothes because I didn't want people to comment on, my legs or whatever it was that they were commenting on. I spent so much time focusing on trying to be like what everybody else wanted to. I was missing out on actually just coming into my own, actually just growing into who I was supposed to be, because I was just so focused on the comparison. I don't look like that person. I'm not the same shape as that person. Maybe something's wrong with me. And then you just go in this spiral, in this rabbit hole that you should have never been in the first place, just focusing on the wrong things. And so even just beyond my physical appearance, I was just naturally really good at school, for example, but I would always try to hide my success or downplay it because in comparison to others, I looked like the goody two shoes or the try hard, and I didn't want to look like that. But that's who I was. I was just naturally good at school, but I was trying to shrink myself. And so it goes way beyond looks. Obviously, it goes way beyond grades. But what the point that I'm trying to get across here is, by comparing ourselves, we're really limiting ourselves in more than one way. So for example, if let's say you're an overachiever and you're constantly comparing yourself to the people around you or the averages that you see on Google or whatever it is that you're comparing, you might stop before you reach your full potential because your mentality is going to say, well, I'm doing better than most, so maybe that's good enough. And then on the other side of that, if you're, I guess if you want to call it underachieving, or you're not at the position that the average or the majority or whoever around you is in, well, then you might give up ahead of time because you're thinking, well, I'm doing similar actions to them, or I think I'm doing the same things that they're doing, but somehow it's not working for me. So maybe that's not it. Maybe this isn't for me. And so because of that, comparison will really cause you to limit yourself in both ways. I don't see a opportunity for you to win by comparing yourself to others. But the way you do set yourself up to win is to compare your today to who you were yesterday. That's a game that you could win. That is a place where you can actually set attainable goals and attainable benchmarks for yourself. Because, for example, if yesterday I didn't drink enough water, well, today I can. Today I can actually set a limit. I can fill my water bottle to the top and make sure that I get through it by the end of the day. And that means in terms of my health goals, I'm doing better today than I was yesterday. And I can keep building on that in little increments. And as I said before, that's the game you could win, because you can decide what your measure of success is. Instead of looking around at other people, other scenarios, whatever it is that you're looking at, and only getting half, if that. Sometimes it's only a quarter of the story. You're only getting a little piece of the entire puzzle and trying to fit into a mold that's not even real. You only saw the money, but you didn't see the price that was paid to get that money. You only saw the physique, the outcome of that person's fitness journey, but you didn't see all those mornings that they had to wake up 4 a.m. to get in the gym before they headed off to their job. If we don't see the price that was paid, then how can we compare ourselves to the result or the outcome? when we only have part of the story. So the point of this episode and the building block of the day really is, if you're finding yourself being limited in some way, if you feel like there's a ceiling on you, for some reason you can't break through something, it's probably because you're comparing yourself to something else. What is it that you're comparing yourself to? It's not a bad thing to compare you, exactly how I said. It's not a bad thing to compare your today to your yesterday. But when you're trying to compare your step 2, for example, to somebody else's step 8, because you didn't actually realize how many steps they had to take to get to where they were, that's going to be discouraging. Or if you already somehow feel like you're ahead of the pack, then you're going to slow down your own brakes. You're going to limit your own abundance and your own potential just because you feel like you're doing enough to stand up and compare to others, when that's not what it's about at the end of the day. So I just encourage, especially over this holiday season, just reflect on, what is your measure of success? Are you currently comparing yourself unnecessarily to other people and their journeys? Have you ever quit too soon because you were comparing yourself to somebody else? And taking the time to reflect on these things will unlock that leash that you feel, or break through that ceiling that you keep bumping your head on, because it's not about what's going on around you. It's about what's going on inside you and in the environment that you create for yourself. So set yourself up for success and stop the comparison. So that's a message to me, and I'm just sharing it with you today. All right. So that is all I've got for the day. I truly hope that connected with somebody. I pray that you guys enjoy every single moment of your holidays. Remember what the holidays are about. Hug and kiss your loved ones if you have the luxury of doing so, especially through all of this social distancing and all of that. Just really take the time to appreciate this life that you get to live, and be grateful for your health, the ability to change at any moment in time. Just really take the time to love on somebody, even if it's just yourself this holiday season, okay? So as always, if this did resonate with you, like, comment, subscribe, send this to a friend. Download the Matrix Legacy app so you can stay up to date with all of our Matrix Legacy content. I will be here next week with another building block for success. Until next time, let's build a legacy.